Hi, fifth grade. Just wanted to say how much I miss you. It's really been strange not seeing you guys 3 times a day. And I hope things are going well and that you're all staying well and being able to figure out what you need to do for your homework. When I'm making this, I've already read most of your paragraphs, or at least seen them, waiting to get your stories and looking forward to seeing how those turn out. But today we want to get back to easy grammar, your favorite part of my class. And with that being said, though, I'm going to give you a break on Wordly Wise this week because it is a 4-day week because of the holidays, so no Wordly Wise and no writing. You can keep working on your book reports. Those will be due May 4th, like we talked about, and if we're not back to school, we'll figure out how you're going to get those to me. But just keep reading those. Remember to use the forms that I gave you to fill those out. So with easy grammar, we've already talked about nouns this year. So you guys all know that nouns are person, place, thing, or idea. We did really well with those when we had our noun test back a month or so ago. And when we were studying nouns, we talked about determiners. Now, another name for determiners is limiting adjectives. So that's the term that your book's going to use this week as you're working on these. But they're the same thing we talked about. Now, we talked about determiners have several different categories. They have articles, words like a, an, or the, numbers, 1, 2, 3, or any word that refers to a number, some, few, many, things like that. We talked about possessives. So it could be the words like my book, his book. It could be a person's name with the apostrophe S after it, that we were working on those too. So John's book. Those are all determiners or limiting adjectives. Another kind of determiner are your demonstratives, words like this, that, these, those. So those are things that really we've already done. And we've also talked about descriptive adjectives when you've been doing your writing. That's one of the things you had to include in your paragraphs. So this chapter should be pretty easy because it's really a review of stuff we've already done. So if you look in your book on page 142, it talks about all of this and it gives you some examples. So we're not going to go step by step through that right now. I'm going to let you kind of go back later and look at that. But one rule to remember, a determining adjective has to have a noun after it. If there's no noun, it's not an adjective. It's a pronoun. So an example of this would be if I said, this book is funny, this is an adjective. It's describing book, this book. But if I say, this is funny, I don't have a noun anywhere in that sentence. I have this. So this is a pronoun. So if it doesn't have an adjective, or if the adjective doesn't have a noun after it, it's a pronoun. It's not an adjective, even if it is one of our determiner type of words. So you need to remember that, especially when you get to page 145, because you're going to have to decide whether those words are adjectives or pronouns. The other rule that you need to remember is on the bottom here, and sometimes there will be other determiners or other adjectives, especially descriptive adjectives, between your determiner and your noun. So if your instructions, like on page 143, I think it is, it says find the determiner and the noun. Well, make sure you don't put the other adjectives. They just want the determiner, which actually on page 143 they've given it to you. You just have to find the noun. So if it said, this tall apple tree is getting really big, well, this is your determiner, but what's the noun? Remember, your noun has to be a person, a place, or a thing, or an idea. So in this case, your noun would be tree. So make sure when you do that, you would write this tree. Don't write this apple or this tall. You would write this tree. And they give you some examples of that at the top of page 143. And also, again, they're on page 142. If you read part 2 about limiting adjectives, it'll tell you what to do. Now, your homework today is to do page 143 and page 145. Skip page 144 today, and we'll see how you guys do on page 143, whether you need to do 144 or not. In tomorrow's video, we'll actually check those pages so your parents don't have to check them with you. I'll give you the answers just like we do in class, and you can mark them. And then if you have trouble with 143, you know how we do it. You'll have to do parts of page 144. So for today, work on page 143. Read your directions carefully. Look at your examples. You just need to take the determiner that they give you, or the limiting adjective, though they're the same thing, and find the noun, person, place, thing, or idea that goes with it, and write that out. On page 145, you're going to write whether the determiner is a pronoun or an adjective. So remember your rule. If it doesn't have a noun after it, it's not an adjective, it's a pronoun. And you'll see that on page 145. They give you the determiner, it's underlined. So you take that, you look for the noun, and the example, they use the sentence, her shampoo is all gone. So her, they've underlined, it's a determiner. Does it have a noun? Yep, it does, shampoo. So that one, her, is an adjective. But in the other sample, it says, will you go with her? Does her have a noun after it there? Nope, it's the end of the sentence, so there's no noun. So in that case, her is a pronoun. All right, hopefully this all makes sense, and tomorrow I'll be back with part 2. We'll check your homework, and we'll talk a little bit more about limiting adjectives and look at descriptive adjectives. So have a great day, and I miss you guys a whole lot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.